again. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm happy to welcome you today. It's still summertime now, but we are getting back to work, I suppose. I hope that everyone had a chance to spend some days somewhere in nice places, maybe at the seaside or in some country places. Anyway, as we are approaching to a new academic year, Education Expert Center continues its series of webinars dedicated to facilitation of interaction between Russian universities and international consultants and agencies that work in the field of international education. And I'm happy to see so many colleagues of ours in this today event, and I hope that more to join in some minutes. Anyway, I'm happy to introduce to you today our friend and partner of Education Expert Center, Bernice Camilleri, who is the director of portal online platform called schoolsandagents.com, and Bernice personally and this portal has an extensive experience and knowledge of how international education should, develop in terms of and encouraging international students to go abroad and recruiting them for universities and schools. I know that there are hundreds of schools, universities, and agencies are brought together on the platform, Schools and Agents platform, and that the platform was established like over 10 years ago. So really the experience is vast. And I'm sure that Bernice will tell us more about the portal and experience that she and her company has. So I would like everyone to very carefully listen to what Bernice says, because she can tell us a lot of tips on how to set up work with agencies in a proper manner. So I'm happy to introduce to you once again Bernice Camilleri, and please, Bernice, take the floor and feel free to talk about your topic. Thank you.
Very well. Thank you very much, Dimitri, for that really good introduction. You've really done your research well. I must say I'm impressed. Thank you very much for that, and welcome to all of you. You mentioned summertime. I'm based in Malta, so you can imagine, if any of you have ever been here, you can imagine what a hot Mediterranean summer is all about. So I think outside, obviously I'm working from home right now, but the temperatures outside must be around 40 degrees. So I'm very happy to be here with you instead of running meetings outside today. So thank you for that. I am going to share my screen with you so that you will be able to follow the presentation. Dimitri, is that okay? Can everybody see the screen?
Yes, I think so. At least I can see it very well.
Okay, very well. Good. So we will follow the presentation from here. So as Dimitri correctly said in the introduction, the topic of today is how to work with agents. But before we jump right into the presentation, and I promise you that I will be giving you as many tips as I can, but I will say it now, if any of you would be interested in having a private chat, perhaps following this webinar to concentrate specifically on your university, on your case, I will be very happy to set up a chat with you, okay? And I also think from my end, there is no problem if you want to share, Dimitri, the presentation with our friends over here, you are very welcome to do that. So just to give you a brief introduction about me, and I say brief because I really have to make an effort to try and make it brief. as I said, I'm based in Malta. I started off as a teacher of English, and I eventually became a lecturer at the University of Malta within the field of English. In fact, my area of specialization is English linguistics, and that is something that I still have a strong passion for. However, I branched into marketing while I was running a school in Malta. And while I was doing this experience, I was running an English language school here in Malta, and I started to gain some experience in marketing. And I must admit that I really loved it. So because I like to do a lot of different things in life, I went and I got qualified in marketing as well. And nowadays I lecture CIM students in Malta and in the UK in marketing. And my area of specialization is digital marketing. So I lecture students nowadays in digital marketing while continuing to run and develop schools and agents, which I run together with my business partner, who also happens to be my sister. So Schools and Agents is a family-run company. But when did Schools and Agents start? As Dimitri correctly said, we started over 10 years ago. In fact, we started in 2008, and this year in July, we celebrated our 12th anniversary. Schools and Agents started as a platform in Sweden. It wasn't always in Malta. I started working for Schools and Agents in 2011. I started working there as a part-timer while I was running the English language school, and it is a platform that I used. So I personally used to be a client of Schools and Agents, and eventually I started working for the company. In 2015, I had the opportunity together with my sister to take over the company and bring the operation to Malta. So since 2015, for the last 5 years, I have been running Schools and Agents together with my sister, as I said. What does Schools and Agents do? We will have the opportunity to talk about that in further details throughout this presentation, but to give you a brief introduction, we help education providers like yourselves to connect with agents. We have a lot of agents. I will go into that later on, where they are, where they come from, who they cater for. We will cover all of that today, but I just wanted to give you a brief introduction of who we are and what we do. If any of you have any questions at any point during the presentation, feel free to unmute yourselves to ask me. However, we will also have time for Q&A at the end of the presentation. So whatever works best for you, I'm totally flexible. If you prefer to ask me the question immediately in case you forget, feel free to do that. If you prefer to wait until the end, I will definitely dedicate time for that as well. So what are we going to look at today? And here are the contents of today's presentation. First of all, the point I would like to start with is why agents? Why is it important for universities like you to work with agents? What do agents bring to the table? So we'll start with that. We will then move on to look at what agents look for, because it's not just a question of saying, yes, I want to work with agents. It is also making yourselves attractive enough to agents. We will look at where the agents are based, and we will look at how to reach them. What are the effective ways, especially in the area of digital marketing, that nowadays you can use in order to reach agents? And we will look at some tips, and the tips we're going to look at are tips that I constantly and my business partner constantly give to our clients. So these are taken directly from our website. We're going to focus a little bit on content today, because content is a very important part, a very important area when it comes to reaching agents. And we're going to look at how to create content and what kind of content to create. We will also focus on one of my personal pet peeves, which is cold calling. It is something that in sales and sales departments, especially in big companies, tend to focus on a lot. However, in our industry, and especially when you are working with agents, cold calling doesn't work. So I'll tell you from now that the slide for cold calling will be as simple don't do it. But we will also focus on why. We will look at agent commissions and different aspects. This is an area that I must thank Dimitri for, because when it comes to Russian universities, I took his feedback on this to see how best to present it to you guys, so that we tried to keep it as simple as possible, because I know that there are many ways in which agents tend to work with universities when it comes to commissions. So we'll focus on that as well. And finally, we will also look at the different membership options that schools and agents offer, so that you can start benefiting from that immediately if you'd like to, obviously. And we will also look at our statistics, okay? I don't plan to take up too much of your time in talking, because I prefer to leave more time for Q&A. Okay, so without further ado, I think we can move on to the first slide, and that is why agents. There are various reasons. We meet, that photo that you're seeing over there is taken at a conference. We attend a lot of conferences during the year, obviously not this year because they were all cancelled. But when there's no COVID, we try to attend as many conferences as we can, and that is where we meet agents. And that is where we talk to agents to hear their perspective. Obviously, agents are a great way to attract students to your university. Why? Because they do your promotion for you. You won't need to promote directly, or you can promote directly, but you know that you have a good percentage of the promotion that is being handled by the agent. The agent is a solid reference point in the customer journey of the student. The agent accompanies the student from the very beginning of the process until the very end. The agent is also there throughout the process while the student is studying at your university. So if there is a problem and the student perhaps doesn't feel comfortable coming to you, or if perhaps the parents of the student need to ask something, they know that they have the agent as a reference point, the agent who is based in their country, who speaks their language. And that is one of the biggest and most important points. One of the strongest points of agents is that they speak the native language of the students from the country where your students are coming. So that makes it very, very attractive, both to the students and to the parents. I think one of the perhaps biggest fears that students face when they have to go and study in a foreign country is language. Am I going to be understood? Am I going to be able to communicate? And the agent bridges that gap. And that's a very good, a very important even sales point for you. So yes, the agents are the student's reference point from the moment they establish contact with them throughout their stay with you and afterwards too. They communicate with your students in a more smooth way, in a smoother way, because they are the contact point between you and the student. And this helps you even from a marketing perspective, because if, let's say, there are certain issues that keep repeating themselves, the agent will point that trend out to you immediately. You won't have to invest time in conducting your own research. You can focus on what you do best, which is giving students an education. And you can let the agents do the other work for you. Another important point is that agents know the industry well. What does that mean? Again, from a marketing perspective, if there are emerging trends, if in other universities outside of Russia, there are trends which are emerging that the agents are hearing about, because obviously agents work in different countries, they would be able to tell you. And that means that you can stay on top of your game. It means that you can have courses ready that students are looking for in other countries to make sure that you remain competitive. Because yes, agents know the business well. It is their job. And one important point is that a good agent, and this is where you can differentiate, even for you, don't just accept any agent who comes or who asks to work with you. make sure that they are good agents. And I can speak for my platform because in my case, we vet all the agents, we check them out. But yes, if you become very strong in working with agents, if you become well known as a university that works with agents, you can rest assured that agents are going to come to you, even from outside of my platform. And that is where you need to be a little bit careful, because a good agent will want to find out everything there is to know about your school. A good agent will, first of all, want to visit your school. They will want to meet you face to face, and they will want to come to see for themselves. And you need to take that as a strong sign that that is a good and a serious agent. Because if an agent sees your university, then he or she can sell it better. This is like if we have to make a recommendation about, I don't know, a hotel, we always tend to recommend those hotels that we've stayed in, where we've had an experience in. And it is the same for the agent and your university. So what do agents look for? And I'm going to try and increase the size of, this a little bit. Agents look for trust. You need to make sure that the relationship with agents is built on trust. What does that mean? That means that if, for example, a student decides to extend, or if a student comes to you with a problem, you need to make sure that communication with the agent is constantly ongoing, because that is how the agent builds trust in you. The more the agents trust you, the more students they send to you. It is plain and simple. It is also based on mutual respect. Of course, agents need to be treated as partners of your university, not as clients, not as suppliers, because if you treat them as clients and as suppliers, agents will feel like they are just a number, like they are only there to send you students, and they want to feel a part of your family, a part of your university. And this is something that in marketing is extremely important, what we call a sense of belonging. If an agent, a student, anybody feels like they are part of your university, then they are going to be more engaged. They are going to make a bigger effort to send students to you. Why? Because they like you. And that is simple human nature. We help the people we like. Very simple. So agents look for education providers that they like. Agents look for education providers that they can trust. If you present yourselves as education providers that agents can trust, that agents can respect, or that respect agents, as education providers who are transparent, no hidden fees, no hidden costs, everything is discussed between you and the agent. The agent is not going to catch you out or on anything. You're not going to have a discussion with an agent and agree on a commission, and then all of a sudden, when the agent sends you the invoice, or when you send the payment to the agent, they find that there is something that, I don't know, something that perhaps you haven't discussed. I see that there seems to be a chat, so I'm going to check out what that is. Okay. Hi, Maria, good day. So yes, transparency is key. And as I mentioned before, the key to make all of this work is communication. The more communication there is with agents, and not just by email, pick up the phone sometimes. Have a Skype call with them, have a Zoom call with them. Why? So you can see each other. You would be surprised at what a big difference it makes when people establish a connection with one another. The more rapport there is, again, we're talking about human nature over here. The more rapport there is, the easier and the more natural the relationship is going to develop. And for that reason, agents will trust you. They will feel that they are respected by you. They will like you, and therefore they will work with you. So that is a little bit about what agents look for. We are now going to move on to look at where our agents are based. So on schools and agents, we are currently working with 728 international agents. The majority of our agents, as you can see in the blue patch of this pie chart, are based in Europe. Okay? The majority of our agents in Europe are based in Turkey, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, the UK, and Ireland. So this is where you can expect to receive students from. The majority of our agents on schools and agents look to work with people in higher education. They are constantly on the lookout for people in higher education. And at this point, we started noticing this trend changing over the last number of years, but especially in the last 3 years, where the interest in higher education around the world, not just perhaps in the countries that we normally associate with higher education, the interest has become much, much bigger. So even agents who have traditionally only been operating in the field of language learning have now opened up their markets, and they have also started working in the field of higher education. So as I said already, the majority of our agents are based in Europe, but we also have agents based in Asia and the Pacific, in South America, in North America and Canada, in Africa and in the Middle East. So we literally cover the whole world. In fact, we have agents based in 80 different countries. So like that, you know that you are looking at a platform that has extensive coverage across the globe. And now we move on to perhaps the most important part of the presentation. So yes, there are 728 agents waiting to work with us, but how do we reach them? And there are 4 important points that as education providers, you need to be able to consider and look at. First of all, what are your unique selling points? One of the conversations that I personally have with a lot of agents, and that I know for a fact annoys a lot of agents, is when they are having meetings with education providers, like the one we saw in the first photo at a conference, for example, and the agent sits down, and one of the first questions that he asks or she asks the school is, what can you offer me that other people can't? And unfortunately, sometimes the schools are not able to answer that question. And that is a sign to agents that the school is only focused on selling courses. They don't even know their identity. They don't know who they are. We have another chat. Let's see if it's something that is important. That is a question. No. Good day to you too, Michael. So it is important that you are able to identify what are your unique selling points, and your unique selling points need to be highlighted on your brochures, on your branding, in your marketing plan, on your website, on your social media, and if you start working with us, in the articles that you send to us as well, because this is a way of getting agents to contact you directly. If you're focusing on a unique selling point, and it could be a course, for example, it could be a course that you're offering that nobody can. It could be a special offer. It could be a price. It could be the kind of accommodation that you offer. Anything that makes you stand out from the rest of your competitors. If you publish articles, if you publish content on social media, if you have this highlighted on your website and the right agent sees that, the right agent will contact you, will get in touch with you, and it will make the process of starting to work together much smoother and easier. So that is the first point. The second point is that if you're going to work with us, you need to send regular content. Sometimes we have schools or universities who send us an article once a year. At the end of the 12 months, we have a meeting with them, and one of the things that we ask is, How has it gone? Have you been in touch with any of our agents? And some of the things that these clients sometimes tell us is, we haven't heard from agents. So what I do in that case is I always go back to see how many articles this client has sent us, how much content this client has published, even on their own social media pages, on their own blog pages, because that's another important point. And I find, sometimes I really find that there is content that is more than 1 or 2 months old, that the most recent post was over 2 months ago. And that shows, and that is also not good for direct students. So I'm here to talk about agents today, but if you don't take care of your social media pages, you're not going to attract direct students either. So it's important for both, okay? Regular content must be updated regularly. That is imperative, okay? So it's important that if you do start working with us, to send us regular content. I will explain later on what I mean by regular content and how we can help you if you cannot provide regular content, so that we can publish these articles on our site, social media newsletter. Each one of these articles on schools and agents, I will break down the statistics for you later on, reaches over 80,000 industry players. So one article reaches over 80,000 industry players per month, not per year, per month. So that is a lot of exposure, and you need to take advantage of that. The next 2 points, yes, images. Images are very important. The first thing that we look at is the picture. We are eternal kids, so even though the content is good, even though the title is catchy, the image is important. When you send us articles, when you publish things on your social media pages, make sure that the images are good, both in terms of quality, but more importantly, in terms of the message that they are sending. I'll give you an example. If you send us an article, and in this article you share an image with, okay, I will answer the question soon, Dimitri. If you send us an article and you send us an image of an empty classroom, what is the message that you're sending? The message that you're sending from a marketing perspective is, I have this really good course, but I have an empty classroom. And do you think that an agent will want to work with that? No. So you need to show students having fun. You need to show real students. You need to stay away from stock images. I think stock images have been around on the internet for so long now that everybody recognizes the models in those stock images. So make sure, again, I go back to the first point of unique. Make sure that your images are unique, that you use images that belong to you. So I'm looking at the question from Dimitri. What is an average share of students brought to schools by agents compared to their direct marketing? That's a very, very good question. The majority of our clients, it depends on the country where they're based, but I'm talking on average over here, are between 60 and 70% reliant on agents. So I'm going to type it over here so that 60 to 70% of the student market comes from agents. And that is why it is important to invest in agents, because if you only rely on the direct market, yes, you will save the commission. Again, I preach transparency. I am transparent myself. If you skip the agent, you will save the 10 or 15% commission. But the amount of time that you and your members of staff have to spend to reach the same amount of students that the agent would send you makes that 10 to 15% a really, really small price to pay for the value, for the return on investment that you will be making. So that is why, yes, I will give you tips on how to reach direct students through social media, but still it's not just my belief, it is statistics that speak, because I quote statistics because they never lie. The market is 60 to 70% reliant on agents. Thank you for that question, Dimitri. It was a very, very good one. Another way to interact with agents is, another way to reach agents is to interact with them even on social media. If you look at my own social media, so my personal ones, Bernice, Camilleri, not schools and agents, it is filled, like for example, my Facebook is maybe 30% friends and family, and I have a big family. I remember I'm from Malta, we have big families in Malta. 30% friends, the rest are industry colleagues. And why is it good? It's good because if my colleagues, if my industry partners, if my clients can have a little snippet, can become interested in what I share on my social media, and obviously I'm a professional and I share only things that that can be interesting for my partners to see, it is going to make the relationship move from strictly colleagues to something a little bit friendlier. And as I said in the beginning, this kind of interaction, because we are human beings, because we like to work with people that we like, makes interactions, makes business transactions smoother, okay, and more efficient. So yes, you can interact even on our own social media if you're not comfortable doing that on your own, if perhaps you're still in the process of building your network, and that is fine. As our members, you can interact on our social media, so you can post in our groups. You can interact on our posts. Remember, any kind of visibility that you can get is good, is a way to make yourself recognized within the industry. The more you are recognized within the industry, the more people are going to become curious about who you are. Then they become curious about what you offer, and then communicating with you. So this kind of social interaction is not a waste of time. It is a very good and a very modern way of reaching and interacting with agents. And I say this about social media, and I move on to the next topic. Agents spend a lot of time on social media because that is where their client base is. If the agent's client base is on social media, then you will find that agents are very present on social media. And this is something that impresses me. The social media pages of agents are much more up to date than the social media pages of schools. That in itself is proof that the agent spends more time on social media. So if as an education provider, you spend time on social media as well, that is a place where you can both meet and talk and interact and start forming business relationships. Type of content, obviously there are a lot of different types of content, but one thing that I will always stress is to not cross-share. So if you create, for example, a post for Facebook, don't share the exact same post on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, because the audience on social media is totally different. I will not go into that in a lot of detail today, but perhaps Dimitri, if you're interested and if your clients are interested, we can perhaps have another talk at a later stage about social media. So that can be totally separate from this. But to bring it back to our discussion today, it is very important for you as an education provider, and especially as a university, to have a blog, to update that blog regularly, and to create engaging social media posts to share with your followers. Remember, the bigger your network grows, the more that network will start including agents. And working with one, if you start working with one agent, that one agent can get you 10, 20 students. So that saves you the work of having to reach 20 different students yourselves, or all you're trying to reach is one agent. So the posts need to be more targeted. They need to be more focused on who you want to reach, on your target audience. So again, we've already covered a little bit of this, but it's important that quality content is engaging content. It is the kind of content that generates reactions, likes, shares, comments. It is the kind of content that generates hits from your website to, from the article to your website. For example, on Schools and Agents, when you send us articles, we will put links to your own website over there. And that is a way for you to have agents read your article and be able to go straight to your website from ours. They don't need to stop. They don't need to contact us to come to you. They can come to you directly. I mentioned this before, I'll repeat it now. It is very important to be consistent when posting. It is important to write about topics that are interesting to agents, such as nationality mix, new courses, offers, milestones. I mentioned accommodation before. Perhaps if you have leisure activities, focus on your destination. That is a very, very interesting thing and important point that agents love to read about. Quality content is varied. Don't stick to articles. Include video, images, interviews, and make sure that this content is raw. And by raw, I mean that there isn't too much editing. Things like, for example, a Facebook Live, or an interview with a student who perhaps doesn't have perfect English, or perhaps where you can hear some background noise. It's okay. The more raw the content is, the more the agents are going to trust it, because they know that if there isn't a lot of editing, then it must be real. So keep that in mind as well. Just a few little tips on how to use social media for business. I'm just going to go into the do's and don'ts today. And as you will see, they are things that we've already mentioned. So be consistent, it's very important. Don't just rely on one platform, because different platforms engage different audiences. Have a plan. This is something that, again, if you start working with us and if you engage our services to help you with your own social media, it is something that we focus on a lot, to have a plan before you start, okay? But it will take time at the beginning, but it will make sure that you remain consistent. So for example, on Monday, we're going to post this. On Tuesday, we're going to post this. Just before I came into this webinar, I was actually creating a social media plan for one of our clients who's a CRM provider in the industry, and we do their marketing. And I was creating their social media plan because we have to make sure that they post on social media daily. By daily, I mean 5 times a week. So we create posts for them. So they just go, copy and paste, and they have posts going into their channels every day. One of the don'ts, don't be too hard on selling. So don't make your posts very sales oriented. They need to be posts that trigger curiosity. If people become curious, they will contact you, and the chance of them buying a product from you, or of them buying a bigger product from you, is larger. It is important to create goals, to create measurable goals. So don't try to aim for something that is too much immediately, okay? And what's important, especially in our industry, this is something that I see happening a lot. Don't use generic marketing techniques. So you might have experience in this already. Perhaps you've engaged somebody at your school, at your university, who has a normal marketing degree, but it still takes time for them to learn about the industry and to adapt their marketing strategy to the industry that we're working in. We work in a very niche and very specific, yet very beautiful industry. And it's very important that people take time to learn and to understand what the industry is all about. Another do, be engaging in the kind of content that you share. It's very, very important, as I said before, making sure that people get curious, people click on the link from the article, they come to your website, they want to find out more about you. And don't be pushy. And this is where cold calling, in fact, it links to the next slide, comes in. Cold calling leads to cold feet. It is considered to be, in our industry, in other industries it works, but in our industry, cold calling is considered to be something that agents totally hate. When an agent receives a call, the agent wants that call to be from a potential student, because that is where he or she is going to make money from. If that call comes from an education provider who's trying to sell their services, their courses, their schools and universities to them, the agent won't like that. And the agent will see you as, I'm going to use a horrible word, a little bit desperate. So rather than chasing agents, make yourself visible to agents and make yourself accessible to agents. So it doesn't work. They interpret this as a sign of hard selling and that you're only interested in sales. So rather than focus on sales, focus on creating long-term relationships with these agents. And we will now move on to look at commission rates. Obviously, different education providers have different commission rates. So again, this is entirely up to you. And I really do encourage you to have a conversation with agents rather than saying, this is what we offer. Ask agents what they're looking for, perhaps what they consider to be a fair commission rate. And agents are used to getting told what commission rates they're going to get. So again, I always go back to the same point. It makes you very likable if you ask them. It makes you nicer in their eyes if you show them that you're interested in their perspective. And the other good news is that it could save both of you a lot of time. And as we say, time is money. So if you can have a transparent conversation with agents where you see what they are expecting or what they consider to be a fair commission, then perhaps from there you can start the discussion, and it will save you a lot of time on negotiation. As we said earlier, universities normally pay 10 to 15% of the first year of tuition fee as commission, but again, it depends on what kind of university you are, what kinds of courses you offer. So for example, the tendency is that medical universities adopt a different kind of strategy, and rather than paying a commission, the agent adds a fee on top of the course that he or she sells. So the agent would be making his or her money by having a fee. Okay? So again, there are different ways in which you can work, and that is why I always encourage communicating with agents as much as possible. So I am now going to move into our membership options. We actually have 729 or 728 agents. What happened was that when I did now I'm noticing it, when I did the first part, between the time when I did the first part of the presentation and the second one, we had a newly confirmed agents. At Schools and Agents, we receive agent requests on a daily basis. And between my sister and myself, as I said before, we vet them, we look at their profiles, and we accept or reject them based on their portfolio. So, as I said in the introduction, we've been established since 2008. We have 729 recognized agents who are subscribed to us. And as universities, you have 3 membership options that you can choose from, starting from just €75 per year. And that is another thing that we do. We understand, because we have been in the industry long enough, we understand that especially in these challenging times that we're living in, budgets are low, and education providers perhaps prefer to offer a higher commission rate so that they make themselves more attractive to agents. So from our side, we keep our prices as low as possible. And I'm now going to go into each one of these membership options. The first one is the light membership, which is the €75 plus VAT per year. And basically, in this membership, you have a profile in the directory page, in the members directory page of Schools and Agents, Light members are listed at the bottom of the directory, okay? But your profile will include a description of your school, a link to your website, logo, contact information, and everything. So the agents can still find you over there, okay? You will be entitled to receive our monthly newsletter. However, and that will include news from other education providers. So sometimes what happens is that a school perhaps is still not sure about how they want to work. So they tell us, okay, for the first year, we're going to start with the light membership so that we receive your newsletter, we see what other people like us are writing about, and then next year we will upgrade so that we can start submitting articles ourselves. Obviously, that is an option. It will delay you by a year. So that is up to you. If within this membership you want to send us articles, there will be a fee for that. Okay, so the articles are not included in this membership. But even if you opt for this membership and then you pay to send an article, that article will be treated like the other articles in the other memberships. So it will be published on our site, it will be disseminated on our social media, it will be included in our newsletter, and it will be sent out. It will reach over 80,000 industry players per month. Okay, so that is option number one. Option number two, this is the most popular option within our clientele. This is the premium membership. It's €300 plus VAT. It has a profile. Again, it includes links to the website, logos, contact info. With this membership, your profile can also include your brochure, list of courses, list of accommodation options that you offer. It is a more wholesome profile. It will be published in the middle of the directory page. So again, perfectly visible to agents, because agents look for education providers by destination mainly. So if they're going to click on Russia, all the schools in Russia are going to come up, and obviously that narrows down the number. You will also receive the monthly newsletter, and with this membership, you have the possibility to send us one article per month at no cost. Again, these articles are all sent in our newsletter, they're published on our site, they're disseminated on our social media, they reach 80,000 industry players. Okay, we will look at the stats in a minute. The other option, this is an option that I must say is becoming even more popular, and for two reasons. As you can see, it involves, there's a lot more that is included in this package. First of all, the school, the education provider, your university will be listed at the very top of the members directory page. It will have the same kind of profile. You will receive the monthly newsletter, but as every new agent gets registered on our website, our platinum members are introduced to this agent. So what we do is, obviously, when we are in communication with our agents, we give them an overview of the kinds of education providers that we work with, and your schools will always be mentioned in this introductory email, okay? When an agent tells us that he or she is interested in something that you offer, because you're listed at the top, because as you will see later, you will be sending us more articles, therefore we get to know you better, we introduce the agent directly to you. So if an agent is looking for a university in Russia that offers one of the courses that you're offering, you will receive an email from me or from Lynn, my business partner, with an introduction with the email of this agent CC'd. What happens there is that I make the introduction and then I leave the conversation. So you and the agent can continue talking without me being involved in any way. So commissions, anything that you discuss with the agent are entirely between you and the agent. The only payment schools and agents get is from your membership. Okay, so we don't get a cut of the agent's commission, and you don't have to worry about needing to pay a higher commission to compensate for the money that the agent will be paying us, because the agent does not pay us anything. And I really want that to be very clear. So you have unlimited member articles. You can send out as many articles as you like over here. And one of the key selling points of this package is that you get an interview every year that is published in the news section and is disseminated amongst our network of readers and followers. This interview can be done in various ways. We have recently started doing live broadcasts, so we would have a live interview with you. People can tune in to this interview and they can ask you questions directly. This interview is then published on our site and disseminated in all of the same ways to make you reach as many agents as possible. Okay, so this is one of the key selling points of the Platinum membership. For those of you who perhaps say, yes, I would like, this is mainly for the Platinum or the Premium. Yes, I would like to take one of these packages, but my biggest fear is that I won't have the time to write the articles, or I don't have enough members of staff to write the articles. For that reason, we have come up with this package where we can write the articles on your behalf. We discuss the content of the articles with you, and we write the articles on your behalf. The propriety of the articles will be yours, so we will be ghostwriters. Once we finish writing the article, we send it to you, and you can use it on your blog. You can send it to us to publish on our website. You can use pieces of it as content for your social media. You can do whatever you like with it. Okay? So that is another option. I don't want to go into too much detail about the package because but if any of you are interested, feel free to let me know. So to look at our statistics and the kind of visibility that we can offer you, we have an average of 60,000 visits on our website every month. We have around 2,000, just over 2,000 followers. No, sorry, this is 10,000. Sorry, we have followers between Twitter and Instagram. We have around 10,000 followers on LinkedIn, and we have around 5,000 followers on Facebook, and they are different audiences. So that is why these articles are posted on different channels, because they are reaching different people. So these are some statistics, what our Facebook page entails, how many followers there are on there, and a breakdown of all the followers per platform. So from my side, this is all I had prepared for you today. I don't know, I'm going to stop sharing over here. I don't know if there are any questions from your side. I hope I haven't said too much.
No, that's all right. Thank you very much, Bernice. Yes, we have some questions for you. But actually, first of all, I want to say thank you for this very interesting presentation. And I really much enjoyed that you are actually promoting this human-like approach in relations between business parties, right? And basically, I really believe that our business of international education is built on mutual trust and you know, like
I think that is
also,
the most
right?
important thing. I think, because at the end of the day, Dimitri, we're dealing with human beings, and sometimes, unfortunately, we tend to forget that. We tend to be so focused on trying to sell that we lose the human side of it. And I think it is extremely important to keep in mind that we're dealing with human beings.
Right. That's right. And I also think that it's also because you are based in Malta, not like in Germany or in the UK. Mm-hmm. This also kind of influences on your approach. I actually have a couple of questions, if you don't mind. So since you have touched upon the fact that agents are able to help schools and universities to make use of emerging trends, right? So I wanted to ask you, maybe you can know one thing. Can you observe any emerging trend that is related to increase of interest to studying in Russia, or
Well,
maybe increase from Russian universities promoting themselves?
I'll be honest with you. Before I started working with you, Dimitri, I was approached by other agents offering, you know, who have contacts with Russian universities, and it was very interesting for me. I was actually contacted by two more agents. One was at the beginning of actually earlier. It was right after ISEF Berlin, so November last year. And the other one was in January or February of this year, and it was every time from Russia. So to me, this is a sign that that agents have their eyes on Russia, and it is also a sign that as a market, as a higher education market, Russia is really emerging.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yes.
so that is.
We have a question here in our chat box from section of university. It's the leading Russian medical university. So the question
the legal
is,
relationships. Yeah, I'm seeing it. Between universities and does the university sign a contract with? No. They sign the contract directly with the agent. Directly with the agent. Okay, so that is what I want to be made really clear. We only enable, we only facilitate connections. The agent and the school and the university in this case work together. That means that if at any point the university wants to review that contract, wants to increase or even decrease commissions, and there have been cases of the sort, that is entirely between the university and the agent.
all right, this is clear, yeah. Also, one more question that I wanted to ask you is, have you ever come across the situation when schools or universities try to interfere agents' commercial activities? Like, for example, they could set up like a ceiling for fees that agency can charge,
Yes.
or something like this.
Yes, I have come across it. Unfortunately, it is something that sometimes schools do. From my side, it is something, and in fact, we have, even on our website, we have published things to discourage this kind of behavior. And when schools, we actually have agents who form a forum. I work with an agent who is delivering webinars to other agents on this to help them identify who are the schools, who are the universities, who are acting in such a dishonest manner, because agents are discouraged to work with schools who offer that. Like I said, it is all about transparency. It is all about trust. So if a school wants to have a solid relationship with an agent that lasts many years, then it is important that that relationship is built on trust, and that people don't try to look for loopholes, you know, and be cheeky.
Yeah. Can we also, so we have to answer another question from Sechenov University, the medical university.
Yeah,
And then
I haven't started working with Russian universities, no. So this is with Russian universities, and that is why I chose to work with you, Dimitri, because you are experienced specifically in the area of Russian universities, and I bring the international side of things. So I think between us, we can really help these people make a difference.
If you don't mind, we would like to give a floor to representative of the Russian #2 university according to the QS ranking. So I would like, this is Novosibirsk State University. Alla, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you, Dmitry. Bernice, thank you for the very interesting presentation. And my question is, you've mentioned Russia as an emerging market for higher education expert. And as an expert, what would you say? What are our benefits at the international market? I understand that segments of market are different and countries are different, but on the whole, what would you let's say, not focusing on selling, but still, what would you recommend us to sell in the first round?
Do you mean, sorry, Ala, I'm not, the sound wasn't always clear.
Okay,
do you mean in terms of courses or?
In terms of courses and atmosphere and all other features, which, I mean, it's obviously lower prices than in other places. That's one thing that we know. But maybe something else like atmosphere, like we try to sell Siberian nature, to sell in a good sense. But maybe if you already were exposed and have some experience working with Russian universities,
rather than, as I mentioned before, so with Russian universities, you are the first group of people I'm talking to. I like to be honest in everything I do. However, when working with international agents, and that is why I included this slide, what do agents ask for? Because whether it's Russian universities, British universities, American universities, agents are interested in one thing, and they are interested in the experience that you're offering. So as far as unique selling points go, yes, focus on the destination, focus on the nature, but also focus on the experience that students are getting. And that is why I, for example, would highly, highly recommend student interviews, student testimonials, because there is nothing that shows agents what a good university you are other than hearing it from the student themselves.
And do you follow which degrees are recognized in which countries? Let's say our medical degree is recognized in Iran and Iraq, and we have many students and applicants from these countries. So do you have any database of which university degrees, maybe in different specialties from Russian universities, are recognized at the international market?
So right at this stage, no, I don't have that database. And again, the reason is because the market is changing, because these, these things are constantly developing, then my side of the business, what I focus on is how to help you reach those people who are interested in working with you. Normally, it is the agent who does that kind of research. And the agents who we have on our platform are people who have done that research. So if they see that you as a Russian university are offering a medical degree that they can send their students to, then that is why I said they will contact you directly.
Okay, thank you.
Bernice, can I ask you to pay attention to a question in the chat
I'm
box?
seeing it here. How to identify a good agent during the pandemic when there is no opportunity to have a face-to-face? We signed contracts and there is no further feedback and productive collaboration. We're really interested in motivating students. Yeah, that is a very, very interesting question. And the answer is a very simple answer. Regular communication. Do not trust an agent who sends you one email and tells you, I want to work with you. I receive hundreds of these requests on LinkedIn every day. And this looks very much like a request you would receive via LinkedIn, or somebody who has seen your LinkedIn profile and would send you an email from there. So do not trust an agent who sends you one question, a one-liner saying, I'm interested in working with you. Ask, don't rule it out completely, obviously. Ask to set up a Skype call, get to know the person, see what they want to do, see perhaps what knowledge the agent has of the market, okay? So establish communication with them. And there are certain agents based in certain countries who would try, again, this is based on my experience. I receive requests even from people saying, I want to be an agent. How do I become an agent? Because obviously it is an opportunity for them to make money or to leave the country. So yes, when we are dealing in a business where there is international movement going on, you do get these kinds of dodgy requests. So I believe in communication. Get to know the people, set up calls, set up video calls. Yes, right now it's a little bit difficult because you can't really travel, But when you're having a call with a person, even from the kinds of questions they ask, if they tell you, send me the agreement, I will sign it, without even having asked a question, I think that's not a very good sign, and I don't think they would be very, very interested.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I also wanted to give a hint to Maria, since Education Expert Center regularly provides training to international education consultants and agents, and we regularly, like every month, we update this list of certified agents that are interested in working with Russian universities and are trained to work with Russian universities. So they know basics of how we normally work in Russia. So if you please take some time and go through this list, or we can share this list with you one more time, and it is available on our Telegram channel, by the way. So you can go through. There are contacts of agents who have undergone the training and everything. So maybe you can start working with these agents first.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see another question over here. Yes. As I said before, we work with over 80 countries. No, it is not focused on the Mediterranean. The majority come from Europe, but not the Mediterranean, not only the Mediterranean region. So there was a slide in the presentation, and if Dimitri will share it with you later on, you will see a breakdown of where our agents come from. So there are agents in the Mediterranean, in Northern Europe, in the Middle East, in Asia, in North America and South America, in Africa, everywhere, in over 80 countries.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and I'm sorry, I think I will have to ask you another tough question. Sorry for this, but I just want to make use of this opportunity that we are together online. So I know that like agencies frequently tend to charge extra fees on top of their commission, right? And this sometimes comes to kind of discussions if it's fair or ethical and everything. So what's your opinion on this, and what do you think, is it good or not good that agencies charge extra fees?
I think, again, I will always resort to the same answer, transparency. I think if the agent does it without consulting the school, then that means that he's trying to hide something, and that is never good. If the agent has a valid reason, whatever that might be, then I believe that the agent would discuss that with the school, and I believe that the school would be on board with the agent's decision. But if the agent and the school are doing things from behind each other's backs, this is like any kind of relationship. It won't work. So personally, I think that if the school and the agent agree on a commission, but this is my personal opinion, then the agent should not charge fees over and above that. But if the school is comfortable with that, if perhaps that means that the agent is going to send more students to the school and the school is comfortable with that decision, by all means. But if the agent goes and charges an additional fee from behind the back of the school, that is not on them.
All right. Actually, thank you so much. And we are already 1 hour and even more online.
Yep.
So thank you
no
very
problem.
much, Bernice.
It is very,
if we don't have any more questions, that I'd like to ask you to have some your final, word. What you would like to tell to the audience
to conclude.
Complete. Yeah.
No, from my side, I would really just like to thank everybody for attending this webinar. It is very, very interesting, and I really do look forward to working with you guys, not only to help you promote, obviously, your courses within our network, but because I really do believe that there is a market for it. because otherwise I wouldn't do it. But I think there is a market for it. I think our agents are waiting literally to have these kinds of opportunities. So from my side, rather than concluding and adding anything new, what I just would like to say is, if you have any further questions, if you think of anything else, Dimitri has my contact info. I also listed them somewhere in this group chat, so feel free to get in touch with me via email. You also have the contact info in the last slide of the presentation, so I am very easily accessible.
Yes, we definitely will distribute all the materials and your contact details as well. And thank you, first of all, Bernice, for your time and your experience and for sharing it with us.
Welcome.
And I really grateful towards our participants who spent their 1 hour with us. And so I hope we'll meet soon, discussing some other interesting topics, and definitely we'll stay in touch.
Very well. Thank you very much for your time. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.